Welcome, everyone. It is now 6:30 p.m., the date of January 20th, 2021. We are located here at the Pine Ridge Clubhouse, 4801 Lakeside, Club Boulevard for our monthly Board of Directors meetings. I would ask all to stand with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Was the meeting properly noticed?
Yes, it was.
Isabel, will you please call the roll?
Yeah. Bill Schifano.
Here.
Scott Harris.
Here.
John Mao.
Here.
Robert Toles.
Here.
Bill England.
Here.
John Fricker.
Here.
Isabel Costanzo. Here.
We have one person for the open forum. It'd be Patrick or Kathy. Everything.
Oh, no.
Hello. I like dogs. I especially like big dogs. Okay. I see we have a big dog as a neighbor here, and it's been a good neighbor as far as I can tell, and the owners have been good neighbors as far as I can tell. My only concern is that when it starts to happen, like the airlines found out, it gets abused very quickly, and the airlines had to institute some policies that were specific than just, okay, come on in. So my question today is, what kind of vetting procedure do we use so that I can't just bring my 60-pound dog and say, he makes me feel good? I have no idea what the situation is with this other one. So I'll sit down and wait for my answer.
Frankly, no one's notified the office of whichever dog it is, or whoever it is. So
Oh, okay.
give me a call tomorrow or something.
Okay. Wow. All right. Very good.
I don't know what the circumstance on that is.
Gotcha.
We were just actually at an event held by an attorney who was explaining a little bit about these emotional support animal versus service animal type of situation. And the legislature in Florida is actually in the process of really hammering down on what exactly a support animal is, and making the doctor kind of put their license number and things, where there's going to be a little bit of, why should you write this letter? They're not just going to be writing them out to everybody, and it's got to hit 2 specific points on it. So it's, they've got to be in-state doctors. It's not where you go online and buy this certificate for $49 and then you're okay. Florida is really stamping down that loophole. It's in the process of being approved by the legislature now, but once it goes through, obviously we'll follow that exactly when it comes to that. As far as regular pets, it's a 25-pound limit, no exceptions. What we've done to try to make that have a little more teeth for people, because everybody looks at fluffy, 20 pounds, that's fine, we now require a picture of the dog when you buy and move in, and we require the vaccination records due to the biting incident that we had last year. So those are 2 safeguards that we're putting into place. But as far as, like Patrick, you've looked at it for many years, if you went and bought a Rottweiler today, from my office, I have no way of stopping you from doing that, but it's the aftermath where the problem comes in.
Do I have motion to waive the reading of our previous month's minutes?
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes.
Second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. You're up.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to take a few minutes and go over some of the things that the lake and amenities were associated with last year. And I've got a few items here that we in particular were involved with, along with the management. First one was the lake management changed vendors, and that's the person that took care of our lake as far as chemicals and so forth. And we had a savings of about anywhere from $1,200 to $2,400 a year on that. Lake quality has improved over 30% due to the water testing on a monthly basis, which I come the second Monday of each month, and I take a water sample, take it out here to the place at the mosquito control place. That's where they do the testing, and that way I get a report back on that, shows how we're doing. And I in turn send that report along to the vendor also. The bulrush planted on the east side of the lake. This is an ongoing project due to the failure of the new plants to take roots. We planted like 360 of those initially. About 300 of them has died out. So they were guaranteed for a year. So we're going to get new ones to take their place. And we've added over 900 fish. This is fingerling fish to the lake. That was catfish, bluegill, and shell crackers. So trying to get the population of the lake up a little bit. Cattails were removed on the south end corner of the lake and bulrush planted in its place. Cleaned up in the southwest corner of the lake by removing cattails and weeds. Lights on the south end of the lake raised to taller posts to improve walking access of the night. The dock area was resurfaced and painted. Lighting was installed at the gazebo area. Hot tub and the pool were cleaned. The bottom of it where we had the rough surface and the dark spots in there were clean. And also at that time, there was a couple of cracks that were found in the pool, so they repaired those. New umbrellas were purchased for the pool area. Cleaning and sanitizing stations added at the game areas and the pool. Bocce ball court was updated with new siding, paint, and benches built on the ends of the courts. New nets for the pickleball courts, shuffleboard court resurfaced, and the imperfections in the surface repaired. That had to do with there were some high and low spots in it. They came back and done some work with that. And the fountain area in the front was reopened and the work continues, and we're going to do some additional landscaping and so forth out there to improve the looks of it.
Okay, thank you. Eric, do you have a manager's report for us?
Thank you, but one thing from last year too, you left off is we put the color changing lights on the
Yeah.
fountains out of the lake, and everybody liked
Sorry.
that. No, that's okay, that's what everybody liked. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to everyone who returned from the north. I see our ex-presidents out there in the audience. So last year was tough. A pandemic like COVID-19 is nothing that any of us could have anticipated. I've taken a lot of classes about property management and communities and being a camp. They never once mentioned what to do in a pandemic in all of those classes. So we're everybody learning on the fly. And on top of that, the fact that nobody knew anything about the virus at all or how bad or not bad it could be, led everybody to jump to drastic actions, such as closing down restaurants, closing down the pool, closing down everything. Now, I think it's really nice that we've learned more about the pandemic, learned more about the disease. When this hit last year in March around Pine Ridge, I don't think any of us anticipated that we would still be here in 2021 talking about it and having masks on our faces. The good news is, though, that we do have the knowledge and we can adapt our behaviors and activities so we can still do some of the things we like to do and not have the virus totally take over every single thing. Pine Ridge has been very lucky throughout the pandemic. I've heard some anecdotal stories from other communities, other managers, where they did not do the things that we did, or they did the things that we did and it didn't work, or waited a little longer, started a little back too soon. And a lot of those places had outbreaks, and some of them had deaths, which is unfortunate. I'm really, can't say how lucky we are that we didn't experience any of that, which is very good. While we've been lucky in avoiding an outbreak or any deaths or very substantial hospitalizations, which is excellent, we have had 14 residents who have reported to the office themselves that they had COVID-19 at one point or another in the last 10 months. So 14. It could be a lot worse. I'd much rather that number be 0. One thing that we will say is all 14 of those cases were isolated and there wasn't any spread in the community of the virus. So that's very, very fortunate. However, that 14 number may or may not be accurate because people may report it to us. They may not report it to us. It's totally up to them. And then there are people that may or may not have had COVID-19 without even realizing it. So the whole quantifying it makes it very difficult. But overall, considering the fact that this is a community made up of mostly at-risk seniors, we've made it through very, very well. And it's critical that we maintain this as we get closer and closer to ending the pandemic. A lot of you have asked me about having vaccinations done here at the clubhouse. And I'll tell you, I am working with a pharmacy who has us at the top of their list to come in and do the vaccines here. However, they told me 2 weeks ago that they'd have the vaccines in 2 or 3 weeks. I spoke to them right before this meeting, and they're saying it could be another 4 weeks. So I don't have a lot of confidence in the system for distributing the vaccines. What she told me is that she's been on the phone with Moderna, increased the order substantially because we're probably going to need quite a few here. And Moderna is sending them out, but they all go through the state and then the local departments of health, and then they're divvied out that way. The only places in Florida really at this time you can get it are at a hospital setting, a vaccination center set up by like the county here at the airport, or they're rolling it out at a limited amount of Publixes, and it's going to expand. And most of the Publixes in this area are down to Collier County that you can go get. So we want to offer it here so you guys don't have to wait in line and you can get it as soon as we have it. However, if you have the opportunity to get it now, don't not do that because we're trying to make it a little more convenient for you. It's too important. The disease is too dangerous. Everybody here almost is over 65. So you want to get it as soon as you can if you want to take it. And that's the quickest way towards the end of the pandemic. The vaccine itself, you actually have to take it, the first dose, then take the second dose either 21 or 28 days later. And it isn't until about 2 weeks after that that you're actually immune to the percentages that they advertise. So it's a little bit of a process from shot 1 to actual immunity, which is kind of disheartening, but that's why get it as soon as you can is my recommendation if you're going to get it. At such a time that we do acquire the vaccine dosages for people, we probably won't know until 48 hours ahead of time, at which point we'll put together some sort of sign up or appointment system to get as many people as we can. So we'll keep you posted on that. But really, I advise you to, like, if Publix gets it next week down here, try to get in and get it at Publix and don't wait for us because the sooner the better. There's no sense in this case in waiting. And I think the vaccine, or the majority of our people vaccinated, is the surest way to a quick end to the pandemic. So enough pandemic stuff. I'm just going to go through some news and notes and things in the community we've been working on over the last couple months. Some of these things will duplicate what Bill said, I believe, but for the most part, they're unique. So we've been working with the social club to develop reasonable COVID guidelines that allow for some common sense precaution, but still let people have a little bit of fun and do some of the things they like to do. We implemented an increased sanitization schedule, and we use our electrostatic fogging cleaner for sanitizer. And what we've done, I've implemented a system where we're going to do all the pool furniture and around the pool every morning, and then we're going to do the clubhouse every morning, and then again every afternoon. And then we've started a log where we log down every time that the room is sanitized or the pool is sanitized. That way, if we do have a problem in the future where we have to go to court because somebody thinks they got sick here, we have a log of all the different things that we're doing and what time and when and that. So the more information, the more records we keep, it can only help us in this situation as we try to keep most things open and still be safe. So it worked out. This is back in November, but we power washed all the concrete driveways, sidewalks, all the white concrete areas around the community. Our spa was out of order for about a week and a half, or about a week. There was a leak in one of the lines that's fixed, ready to go. Pool heaters were down weekend before last. You know, it was freezing in the pool. We got that fixed as soon as possible. Went down on a Friday, but they got them back up on Monday. We purchased and installed new umbrellas around the pool. They've actually are very nice. We stocked the lake, as Bill said, almost 1,000 fish. We also did some much needed maintenance on the littoral areas in the corners where the plantings are, where the fish hide and that type of thing. We purchased and installed new pickleball nets. We completed the wind mitigations for all buildings that were re-roofed in 2020. I asked Pamela to email everybody a copy of their wind mitigation, so you should have received that probably a couple weeks ago now. The email copy is what you want to send to your insurance agent, not a printed copy, because there's very high resolution images that are taken up in your attic, and in order for them to zoom in and see what they're looking for as far as the nails and screws, they need that digital image rather than the printed copy. It doesn't show up as well. At the end of last year, we terminated our contract with our irrigation monitoring consultant. They're the ones we use an online system to monitor the system at night while it goes, and there's a very involved system of graphs and pressures and things like that that need to be monitored. We've had a company doing that for many years now, and we're deciding to go another direction. There is a irrigation design group. It actually was originally the father who did an excellent job, and the son took over, and it wasn't quite as good, so we're going to go another direction. The new company is called Insight Irrigation. Won't change anything that happens here on site. You'll still have James, if you guys know our irrigation tech, James. What this change will allow us to do is give us access to new, better technologies as far as monitoring and basically anticipate problems before they happen, or identify and locate problems while they're small, whether they turn into big problems where our system's down for a long period of time. So far, I'm pretty impressed with them. They've done a pretty good job with some pretty neat things for us, and hoping that continues. We recently replaced the EVAC antennas in our gates. What the EVAC antenna is for first responders, ambulance, fire truck, police. That's what allows them to get in and out of the gate. So we like to check those pretty regularly, and actually they have failed on us, so we replaced one. Had failed, we decided to replace both just so we have no problem at all. Bismarck palms along Villa Drive. We had one of them that the crown was like eaten away by beetles and it died. And we've had this problem off and on for the last several years. So what we did is we did a treatment on the remaining Bismarcks to prevent from this happening anymore. The treatment is a liquid root injection. It's a mixture or a cocktail of a fungicide, insecticide, and then mix that with liquid fertilizer, which is what takes the chemicals all the way to the crown of the tree, which is usually where those beetles are hiding. And it works pretty well. So hopefully we don't lose any more of those trees. And that's my whole list. Mr. President.
Thank you, Eric. Scott has provided us with a written treasurer's report. Since he is joining us via iPad, I would like Eric to read Scott's report out loud for us, as well as everyone streaming online.
Treasurer's report from Scott Harris, January 20th, 2021. Welcome to the 2021 budget year. The association finances are starting out in good shape, and we will be back to work containing costs for our membership. The 2020 financial statements will be available by the February board meeting. The table below is the schedule of the quarterly maintenance fees for the community. Respectfully submitted to Scott Harris, Treasurer, and this hard copy is available for everybody on their way in.
Okay, for old business. Next is the old business, and we will begin there with the board's election of officers. For this, I am going to let our manager, Eric, again, take over to administer the election for us.
Okay. So, one little thing that's a little bit different this year than other years, due to COVID-19, we were given permission to allow a director who's not present to vote in this. The catch is it has to be a secret ballot, and nobody can know who they voted for. So the way that we accomplish that is Scott spoke privately with Pamela. Pamela took down the information, sealed his votes, and we have them already done. And nobody knows except for him and Pamela. So it's about as secret as we can get. The way it's going to work for the rest of you guys is we're going to go president, vice president, treasurer, secretary in that order. The reason is because once you elect a president, that person then can't be elected vice president. So you use that as your guide there. So we've got little slips here, and we're going to go ahead and pass out for president. Right? So just fill out a name and then fold it up and hand it in. It's the best of 7, so 4 votes gets somebody a win and renders the other 3 irrelevant. All right. Drum roll, suspense. The first vote for president goes to John Fricker. Second vote for president, John Fricker.
Landslide.
I have to see if we need a recount. John F.
Who's that?
Fourth one, John Fricker. That's 4 for John Fricker. Means the other 3 don't matter. Congratulations, John. Now we're going to go ahead and do vice president. This is where we find out who the Harris to John's Biden is going to be.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't tell him that.
First vote, Vice President, Bill England. Second vote, Vice President, here we go, guys, Bob Tolles. Third vote for Vice President, Bill England. So that's 2 for Bill and 1 for Bob. Bill England, 3-1. Bob Tolles, 3-2. It's a good one.
I'm the edge of my seat now.
2 more votes, yeah, we'll see if it comes to a tiebreaker here. Bill England. Congratulations, Bill. Here's one where you're curious what the last one is, but we're not going to do. Okay, treasurer. So you guys looking for anybody for treasurer except for these 2 guys here? Treasurer. Scott H. Isabel Costanza. Scott Harris. Scott. All right. So 3 for Scott, 1 for Isabel. Scott Harris. Scott, looks like you have a job for another year. All right, secretary. Okay. Isabel, first one for Isabel. Isabel. That's now 3 for Isabel. Oh, I hope you wanted to be secretary. Isabel. 4 right here. So our new board officers are President John Fricker, Vice President Bill England, Treasurer Scott Harris, and Secretary Isabel Costanza. John, do you want to say anything? The new president?
First of all, I want to say thank you for placing your trust in me to lead our great community this year. I consider it a great honor to be chosen for this role. I also want to congratulate all the board officers who have been elected to their positions for 2021. This year will be my 4th as a board member, and I've learned a lot over this time, and you can sure bet that there's a lot to learn. My philosophy is really simple. We are always going to try to do the right thing no matter what. We're going to listen to the residents' needs and concerns, and when there are areas that, as an association, we can take some action to help, we will look to do so. I believe Pine Ridge is a very special place full of wonderful friends and neighbors. I will cherish this always with voting or making difficult decisions on behalf of the community. Thank you for your trust and confidence. Okay, update on COVID-19. The board continues to monitor the situation with COVID-19 very closely. We must be very careful because the association has no insurance coverage for COVID and are liable for anything that happens related to that, whether it can be proven or not. My philosophy related to how the association responds to the virus threat is as follows. 1, communication and education. I have asked Eric to provide information updates frequently. We also will outline the risks associated with activities on all flyers. 2, increased sanitation scheduling. 3, limited indoor amenities. The clubhouse will remain closed for all non-essential indoor activities where large groups of more than 10 people congregate together for long periods of time, such as dinners, bingos, etc. Number 4, adaptation. We will encourage residents to adapt and adjust their activities so they can be done in a safe and social distant way, hopefully outdoors. 5, vaccination immunity. I am hopeful that in the near future we will have a high enough percentage of our residents vaccinated that we can begin to return to normal. Our goal will have to have on-site vaccinations take place here at Pine Ridge. Eric has been working toward that goal. However, it appears that it will be 4 to 6 weeks at minimum before this is a possibility. We strongly encourage all who want to take the vaccine to seek it out and get inoculated as soon as possible. My goal is to have a community that is safe from the virus while taking all possible precautions while at the same time still allowing people to have a little fun. Before we move on, I want to read the warning language that Eric has developed and will be included in all correspondence. Okay, here's the way it goes. An inherent risk of exposure to COVID-19 exists in any public place where people are present. This includes, but is not limited to, the clubhouse, pool area, recreational courts, and all other common spaces within the community. COVID-19 is an extremely contagious disease that can lead to severe illness, long-term disability, and death. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, all senior citizens and those with underlying medical conditions are especially vulnerable. Do any of the other board members have anything to add to this? Moving on to new business. When it's proposed to the board that we add an access card reader to the board of the door of the clubhouse, reason for doing this would be increased safety, tracking, handicap access, and others. This has been considered by past boards, and they elected not to proceed because they did not feel that the benefit outweighed the cost. The cost to install this access control to the back door is approximately $1,500. Do I have a motion on whether we should move forward with this installation?
I'll make a motion to move it forward. I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Last on the agenda tonight is adjourned. Do I have a motion that we adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second then?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please sign by saying aye. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.
We can take a couple questions if you have questions.
I have a question. Could you please address who will be chairing what committees, specifically when they'll be meeting and how one can become part of that?
We'll have that ready shortly, but you can become a part of any committee that you want to. So I'll help you with
Great.
that. I'll help you with that.
Okay, will you email that out, please, there? Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
Oh, there's only
No? Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a great night.
Hi, John.